Welcome back. Welcome back to Message Reviews. Turn that music down a little bit. How's everybody doing today? New camera angle. I'm trying a bunch of different camera angles. I keep getting comments saying, hey, test this out, test that out, which I have no problem doing until we can kind of figure out how we want to do it. So, how's everyone doing today? Before we get started, I know I have not finished the Raze energy drink review, so I got one more right here, which I'll guess I'll show on the TikTok as well. I'm gonna do it on the podcast first time. This one is Galaxy Burst. Galaxy Burst. Test it out. Excuse me. Not bad. I like that one. I can't really describe the flavor. It reminds me of like eating Nerds. That's what it reminds me of. Like a handful of the pink and blue Nerds. Close to that. It's really good. I like that one. Galaxy Burst Raze. I'm going to give that one a 7. Yeah, maybe even an 8. Maybe even an 8. All right. Again, welcome back to Message Reviews. Today's topic, it is Monday, May 17th. This past weekend, Spiral from the Book of Saw came out, featuring Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, two biggest names on the book. But for those of you that want to know right off the bat, let's go ahead and just get into it. It does not have anything really to do with the old series. It's a complete. They're trying to make this a reboot, right? The Saw series is over. They tried to do someone picks up the torch. In my opinion, it didn't work very well. But this is a reboot for the most part. For those of you that have seen the previews, it is a copycat who is targeting cops. So I very much enjoyed it. And we'll get into that here in a second. I'm going to go over some box office news about it first, and then we'll jump into the actual review. So let's just jump into that first. So what I have here, I got my notes right here. So if I'm turning my head a little bit, I'm reading notes. The North American box office sales for Spiral, the Book of Saw, this weekend was 8.7 million. They were hoping to make about 10 to 15 million, but 8.7 in a pandemic still is pretty good. And not all theaters have full capacity yet. The theater that I went to, very nice theater. It's called B&B Theater. Nice seats, leather seats. They lean all the way back. They're heated. Dude, there was it's me and one other person, I kid you not, in the theater. Saturday at 4 o'clock. 2 people watching it on their grand screen, their bigger screen with the really good surround sound. So there were more people watching Army of the Dead, and there wasn't very many people watching Army of the Dead. Let's put it that way. So 8.7, as we continue to open up the world, because I live in Clay County, Missouri currently, and they opened up on Friday. Not every place is allowed. It's still up to the places, but there is no mask regulations in a lot of places now. Like I walked to the gas station, no mask required. Luckily, I have been vaccinated, so I'm good. I don't really care. It's nice to see some smiling faces out there for a change. It's very nice, so I'm pretty happy about that. Critic scores, 39% Rotten Tomato score from the critics on this film, and it got a 76% from the audience, as opposed to Army of the Dead got a lot higher scores on the audience and critics, I believe. If you have to go back and watch my other podcast on Army of the Dead. And I got some Army of the Dead news as well from the box office this weekend. They made $780,000. They were hoping to make 1.5 to 2 million. They thought they were going to be in 600 theaters. It turns out they were only in 430. So in my opinion, you racking up almost 1 million in very few theaters is probably not terrible, especially when the world's not open yet. And a movie's released on Netflix, so I'm sure they got the bag from Netflix. But, $780,000 covering some costs. I don't know how much it costs to make the movie, but we might have to slowly start looking into some stuff like that. I did really enjoy getting the Army of the Dead podcast in, the day it happened. The only problem is I can't give you some facts, and we can't look at the sales and things like that. So I'm not sure how we want to do movie reviews still. we'll figure that out over the course of the next whatever. But I think movie reviews are my thing right now. First off, I'm a movie junkie. So I used to work overnights at the company I work at when I first started working there 5 years ago. And every Sunday night, I would watch the latest movie because, all my friends are asleep, right? I worked Monday through Friday night. No one was hanging out. So I would go see a movie, the latest one possible, to kind of buy some time. So I saw a movie every week, and I loved it. And I definitely want to get back to that, especially with HBO Max getting a movie every week and things of that matter. But I'm really going to start pushing, especially because I only have to work 3 days a week now. My new schedule for work is I work Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 12-hour shifts. And then unless they need me for something, that's it. And I'm off today because I'm getting ready to go on vacation. But this is why I the amount of time I have now when it comes to getting to film these, I'm pretty stoked about. Because, I really do like doing things like this. It allows me to get out and go do stuff. Like, I started doing my my reviews on TikTok mainly to just kind of try different things, you know what I'm saying? So this gets me out of the house to go watch some movies. I haven't really done much since the pandemic started a year ago. So, all right, let's jump into the review. We'll go over some characters, we'll go over the plot, and I'll give you my review at the end. So, this movie is starring Chris Rock as Detective Zeke Banks, his father, Samuel L. Jackson, Marcus Banks, his partner, Max. I can't pronounce this guy's last name. Max Miguela, maybe. He's Detective William Shank. And then the captain, Angie Garza, is played by Marisol Nichols. There are some other characters, of course. Those are just like the main ones that stuck out and the ones I saw on top of the bill. But like I said, so the plot is for Spiral, the Book of Saw. This is not a remake. This is not a continuation of anything. This is pretty much a reboot. All right. This is, and they say that, it's a copycat who's targeting cops, and they've said that in many things that I've watched over the course of just doing some research in the movie. This is them trying to do a reboot of the series, right? Because it's over. They got to make money somehow, right? So, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to set all this stuff up. Anyways, so it starts off, like any other Saw movie. There's a killing in the beginning. Detective gets the case, and he's trying to figure it out, and they realize pretty quickly that they're targeting cops. And once they kind of figure that out, they just go down this long path of all of that. And like every Saw movie, there's its twists and its turns, and you think it's this person, but it's really that person, and it's got those things. The score, in my opinion, really made the film. It had a lot of jump scares that got me a couple times. And that's what it's about. Like, when you have any type of horror movie, I think the most important thing about a horror movie, which people don't really take this into consideration, I do, because it's just one of the things that I think about, is the score of the film, right? If you do not have good music, ominous, scary music to kind of set you up, it doesn't go very far. Like, have you ever watched a horror movie without sound, or just put on a horror movie without sound just to kind of see how it is? It does nothing for me. So I think they did a really good job with the score. I was very much paying attention the entire time of listening to the music, how it played, how it developed, how it helped develop the scenes of the film. And I very much enjoyed how they put that together to make sure that this film came out the way it needed to come out. So I enjoyed it. I thought the score was very well, and it played a very big part in making this movie the way it is. I'm glad the audience scores are pretty good at 76%. The critic scores were awful. And the only thing I could think of about the critic scores it being so low, I mean, because some horror films do well. Have you ever watched a Samuel L. Jackson film? He plays the same character in every film, in my opinion. Samuel L. Jackson's not a very big... I don't even know how to say this, because I love Samuel L. Jackson. I think he's hilarious. I love watching his movies. But if you notice the way he plays his characters, they are all the same. They are all the same. It doesn't matter what character it is. He plays every character the same. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Go watch multiple Samuel L. Jackson movies from all types of ranges and how the film is done. And I can promise you this, they are the same character. The body language, the way he talks, the way he cusses, if he's getting beat up, the way he's getting beat up and talks crap, everything about Samuel L. Jackson's movies, his characters, they are all the same. He plays them the same. There is no depth. Chris Rock, on the other hand, even though he's a comedian, and I think he does a very good job playing different roles. And in this particular movie, I think he did a great job playing this cop. Granted, it's not like this is not the first cop movie he's ever done. He's done a cop movie before. But he does a very good job, I think, especially like when you sort of see certain scenes, like in one of the previews, when he's talking to his partner about how his wife's not going to be very happy with him being a new detective. Just the way he talks to his partner about being a cop and being in a relationship, you could hear it in his voice that it's hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I like Chris Rock. I think he did a very good job playing the detective. Just the way he handles scenes, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought he did a very good job. Max Miguel, I can't think of all the movies he's in, but every movie I've ever seen him in, I like the way he plays his characters. So I thought he did a very good job being Detective Zeke Banks, Chris Rock's partner. I thought he did a very good job. And like I said, I can't think of all the movies off the top of my head that he's played, but I remember him in things, and I just like the way he acts in movies. I don't know. There's some depth to it. There's definitely some depth to the way he handles his roles. And then, of course, Captain Angie Garza, played by Marisol Nichols, she does the normal captain thing, getting on to her detectives. That's pretty obvious for most, like, cop movies and things of that matter. But like I said, overall, I very much enjoyed it. I don't watch a lot of horror films. There's some horror films in the very near future I'm very looking forward to. Candyman's coming out soon, in June. Candyman was like the first horror movie I remember watching as a kid that scared the living crap out of me. I remember I was like, I was young. We were at my friend's house. There was like, my friend was throwing a party. They were like, oh, we want to watch scary movies. We were all outside. Or no, we were all inside. And I think her dad like scared the living crap out of us. I think we had to have been like 10 or 12 at the very oldest. But Candyman's like the one horror movie I remember watching as a kid. Like the first like really real horror movie I remember watching. And it scared the living bejesus out of me. So I'm very much looking forward to the new Candyman film, especially because of who's involved in it. And we'll definitely do a review on the Candyman movie. Very much looking forward to it. So let's get to my ratings. I'm gonna give this a 7. It's not that I didn't think it was good. It's just I want to try my very best when I'm giving like 8s, 9s, and 10s. Like I need to be very much like I think it's a whole level of things, right? Were you anticipating the movie? Did you really want to watch the movie? Were you hyped for the movie? And then when you went and saw it, did it live up to those expectations to where you can give it a good score? And so I definitely want to make sure I'm good with my rating. Now, 7, in my opinion, is still really good. Now, did I give Army of the Dead a 7.5? I did give it a 7.5. Did it deserve a 7.5? Heck yes, it deserved a 7.5. Was Army of the Dead better? Not necessarily. I think they're two different movies. I think you can't compare the two, even though one's a zombie movie and one's a horror movie. Army of the Dead is more of a thriller, I think, versus a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? If we put both of them together at the same time in theaters, am I making it look? I went and saw Army of the Dead first. I think that should give you a kind of indication on what I was more anticipating. And Army of the Dead's coming out on Netflix, so if Army of the Dead, I think, was just in theaters, not coming to Netflix, I think it outperforms Spiral. I think it could have outperformed it. Being only in 430 theaters, I think very much hurt it. But again, it's coming to Netflix, so like, it's a Zack Snyder film. Zack Snyder's a fucking, sorry, Zack Snyder's a great director. I love Zack Snyder. So, yeah, it's my opinion. It is what it is. If you don't like it, I really don't care. Do I think you should go watch it? I do. If you got time, you want to go watch a good movie, a good horror film, I think it did a very good job. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thirsty. I thought it was good. Especially if you like the Saw movies. This is one of the, like, I saw 1, 2, and 3. Like, look, it's gruesome. It does the same thing. Like, it's bloody, it's gory. You know, it does what it's supposed to do as a Saw movie. I liked it. For a reboot, of course, I thought it was pretty, like, not a reboot, but like trying to get the ball rolling and get some more films, and I liked it. If they made another one, would I watch it? Yeah, probably. I'd probably go watch it again. Not just because I'm reviewing movies, but I'd probably go watch it again. If I wasn't reviewing movies, would I have seen it? I think that should be the question now at the end of the day, right? The new question we're going to end off these... the new question we will end off all of our reviews, our podcast reviews for movies, is if I wasn't reviewing it, would I have seen it? Probably not. I'll be honest, but I'm not a big Saw fan. So, I haven't watched 2 movies in a week in a long time, right? If I had to have chosen what movie I'm watching, I'm picking Army of the Dead over the Saw movie personally. But again, it's coming to Netflix, so I mean, like, if I wasn't, I don't know. I like Chris Rock. I like Samuel L. Jackson, so I'm going to go with, yeah, I probably would have actually still seen it. I would have seen it. Yeah, let's go with I would have seen it. I liked it. And, dude, like, just movies have been kind of, like, iffy this year, man. Like, let's really think about it. With the pandemic, kind of threw a bunch of things off. You know what I mean? It kind of threw a bunch of things off. But anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Again, we're going to give it a 7. Give Spiral a 7. Army of the Dead was 7.5. This is a 7. This week, what we got coming up? So Wednesday, I got a computer review. Me and my buddy A Hammer bought PCs this year. We go over our PCs, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, our experiences with NZXT. For those of you looking to buy a PC, I recommend going and watching that. I think it's going to be huge for you. So we got that coming up on Wednesday. Friday, a little bit different podcast on Friday. It's some gameplay and review of the Arenas mode on Apex. So you got some gameplay too. Me and a couple of my buddies, we played Apex Arenas. So if you want to watch some gameplay, it's the first time I ever put in gameplay on me playing. So like, if you want to go check it out, go check it out. So anyways, thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Peace.